You've been on 5 cruises, maybe 10, maybe you've lost count at this point. You know how to pack a carry-on, you know to book specialty dining early, and you definitely know not to drink the Wi-Fi package price. But here's what nobody tells the experienced cruiser. The longer you've been doing this, the more invisible your bad habits become. And those habits? They're quietly costing you money, comfort, and experiences you'll never get back. Today we're going through 17 cruise mistakes that experienced cruisers keep making, trip after trip, and more importantly, how to stop. Let's start with number 1, and this one stings because it feels like the smart move. Skipping travel insurance because you know the ship inside out. Veteran cruisers do this all the time. They figure they've done it so many times, nothing is going to go wrong. But travel insurance isn't about what happens on the ship. It's about what happens before you even get to the port. Flight cancellations, a sudden illness 2 days before departure, a family emergency that derails everything. The cruise line isn't going to give you your money back out of goodwill, especially if you're inside the cancellation penalty window. Experienced cruisers skip this, and it costs them thousands when the unexpected hits. Number 2 is something I call itinerary arrogance. You've been to Nassau before. You've been to Cozumel 4 times. So you skip the excursion entirely, or you just wander without any plan. And that's fine sometimes, but experienced cruisers often do this at ports that genuinely deserve more attention, simply because they've technically been there before. The mistake isn't revisiting a port. It's assuming you already know what it has to offer. Destinations change. New restaurants open. New tours get created. Going back with fresh eyes is completely different from assuming nothing new exists. Number 3. Booking everything through the cruise line out of sheer comfort. New cruisers do this because they don't know better. Experienced cruisers do this because it feels safe and familiar. But the cruise line's excursion prices are consistently higher than what you'll find independently, sometimes by a significant margin. Yes, there's the guarantee that if a ship excursion runs late, the ship waits for you. But experienced cruisers often use this as a blanket excuse to avoid doing the research. The reality is, independent operators in most major Caribbean and Mediterranean ports are extremely reliable, and you can often get a better experience for significantly less money. Number 4 is ignoring onboard credit strategy. This is a big one. Experienced cruisers accumulate onboard credit from loyalty programs, credit card sign-up bonuses, and booking promotions, and then they spend it carelessly in the last 2 days because they realize they haven't used it. Planning how you'll spend that onboard credit before you ever step foot on the ship means you're not panic buying spa treatments or overpriced souvenirs in the final hours. Know what you're going to spend it on before you board. Number 5 is the specialty dining trap. Here's the irony. Experienced cruisers know specialty dining exists. They might even love it. But many of them either book it all up front without leaving room for spontaneity, or they wait too long thinking they can always get in, and then they can't. The sweet spot is booking 1 or 2 specialty restaurants in advance and leaving space for the ones you discover once you're on board. Ships often have last-minute deals on specialty dining midway through the voyage, especially on sea days. Waiting intentionally can actually get you a better price. 6. And this one is about loyalty programs. Experienced cruisers who are loyal to one cruise line often stay fiercely loyal even when it no longer serves them. There's nothing wrong with brand loyalty, but when the itinerary you actually want is being offered by a competitor at a better price with a better ship, choosing your usual line purely out of habit is a mistake. The points and perks feel valuable until you realize you're sacrificing the actual vacation quality to protect a status level that might not even benefit you that much in practice. 7 is underestimating sea days. Newer cruisers actually appreciate sea days because everything feels fresh and novel. Experienced cruisers sometimes get restless and treat sea days like dead time to push through. But sea days are where the real onboard experience lives. The cooking demonstrations, the enrichment lectures, the pools when everyone else is at port. Veterans who learn to actually look forward to sea days instead of tolerating them end up having a fundamentally better trip overall. Number 8. And pay attention to this one because it happens to almost every experienced cruiser at some point. Assuming your preferred cabin type is always the right choice. You loved a balcony cabin on your last cruise, so you book a balcony on every cruise going forward. But cabin selection should be based on itinerary, season, and ship design, not habit. If you're doing a Scandinavian fjord cruise or an Alaska sailing, there's an argument to be made for an inside cabin or a window cabin because you're going to spend your time on deck or exploring port, not sitting on a balcony in cold weather. Defaulting to what you know without evaluating the context of each specific trip is a habit worth breaking. 9 is a financial one that sneaks up quietly. Not tracking onboard spending in real time. Cruise lines are very good at making money feel abstract. You tap a card here, sign a slip there, and by the end of the cruise, you have a bill that genuinely surprises you. Experienced cruisers think their familiarity with onboard spending means they have a handle on it, but familiarity and actual tracking are completely different things. Check your account through the cruise line's app or at guest services every couple of days. You will almost certainly catch charges that don't add up. 10 is about packing, and specifically overpacking, because you know you need options. First-time cruisers overpack from anxiety. Experienced cruisers overpack from experience, bringing every possible outfit for every possible occasion because they've been in situations before where they wished they had something. But dragging excessive luggage through airports and ports kills the ease that makes cruising great. The solution isn't packing light for the sake of it. It's packing intentionally by actually sitting down and mapping outfits to specific evenings and activities rather than just throwing in backups indefinitely. 11 is one that experienced cruisers rarely admit to. Getting too comfortable with the muster drill or the safety briefing. Modern ships now often let you complete this on the app or through an abbreviated process, and veterans can treat it like pure administrative noise to get through. But safety procedures change ship to ship. The layout of emergency stations varies. Lifeboat assignments are different on every vessel. Even if you've done this 100 times, paying actual attention each time is the kind of thing that matters precisely when you think it won't. 12 is dining room scheduling rigidity. A lot of experienced cruisers pick traditional fixed dining. Same time, same table, same waitstaff every night. And honestly, there's something genuinely wonderful about that. Building a relationship with your dining room team over the course of a week is one of the more charming parts of ocean cruising. But the rigidity becomes a problem when it prevents you from taking a spontaneous sunset dinner ashore, lingering at a port longer than expected, or trying the anytime dining options that newer ships are building their entire food philosophy around. Flexibility within structure tends to serve people better than strict routine. 13, and this is one people don't talk about enough, is neglecting to pre-purchase things that are actually worth pre-purchasing. Not excursions, not specialty dining, we've covered those. I'm talking about drink packages, Wi-Fi packages, and specialty add-ons that are consistently cheaper when bought before you board versus when you're already on the ship. Experienced cruisers who've already paid for the cruise and are in relaxation mode often forget to go back and add these items in advance. Setting a calendar reminder about 3 weeks before sailing to review all your add-ons can save you a meaningful amount of money. 14 is social. Experienced cruisers sometimes operate in a closed social bubble because they already have their routines and their comfort zones. They eat at the same time, hang out at the same spots, and interact mostly with the people they came with. But some of the most memorable parts of cruising come from the people you meet on board. The shared table at dinner, the conversation that starts at the bar, the couple from an entirely different background who end up becoming people you stay in touch with for years. Not every cruise needs to be a social experiment, but consciously closing yourself off because you're a veteran limits experiences that can't be replicated anywhere else. 15 is about port timing. and specifically not accounting for how dramatically port congestion has changed in recent years. Experienced cruisers who've been sailing the same Caribbean routes for years have timing instincts built on older data. But many popular ports now see multiple ships docking simultaneously, and the tourist infrastructure in some destinations hasn't kept pace with the growth. That beach you could reach in 20 minutes 5 years ago might now involve a 45-minute wait for a taxi because 6 other ships are in port the same day. Checking port schedules online before you arrive, which tells you exactly which ships will be docked at the same time as yours, is now an essential part of port planning that many experienced cruisers still overlook. 16 is about health, and it's the mistake that the most seasoned cruisers are paradoxically most guilty of. Overindulgence without recovery. There's a culture on cruise ships around eating and drinking that experienced cruisers often fully embrace because they've earned it. And look, nobody is here to police what you eat or drink on vacation. But experienced cruisers who go hard from day one with no regard for sleep or hydration often hit a wall mid-cruise that wipes out 1 or 2 full days of their trip. Building in one lighter day, not a diet day, just a more measured day, especially early in the voyage, sets you up to actually feel good for the entire trip, rather than recovering for part of it. And 17. This is the one that ties everything together, and it's the most psychological of all. Experienced cruisers stop looking for what they don't know. They arrive with a mental model of what the trip is going to be, built from every previous cruise they've taken, and they unconsciously filter out anything that doesn't match that model. They skip the new show because they've seen enough cruise entertainment. They don't try the new restaurant concept because they prefer what they know. They avoid talking to the cruise director about featured events because they already know what kinds of things cruise ships do. This is the comfort trap. And it's the most insidious mistake on this entire list because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like wisdom. It feels like preference. But what it actually is a slow erosion of the sense of discovery that made cruising exciting in the first place. The best cruisers, the ones who take 30, 40, 50 voyages over a lifetime and still come back genuinely energized, are the ones who stay curious. They combine their hard-won knowledge about logistics and value and timing with a genuine openness to being surprised. They know the ropes well enough to handle anything that goes wrong, and they care enough about the experience to keep looking for things that might go wonderfully right. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Experience is genuinely valuable. Everything you've learned about cruising is an asset. Knowing how to navigate a ship, how to maximize loyalty benefits, how to pick the right cabin position for a smoother ride, how to avoid rookie mistakes at embarkation. All of that matters and serves you well. But experience becomes a liability the moment it turns into assumption. The moment you stop asking what's new, what's changed, what you might have missed, is the moment your cruises start blending into each other, rather than standing out as individual adventures. Go back through this list and honestly ask yourself which of these mistakes you're currently making. Not which ones you used to make. Which ones you're still making right now, on your last cruise, or on the one you're planning. Because that's where the real value is. Not in feeling good about the mistakes you've already fixed, but in catching the ones that have become so habitual, you've stopped seeing them. If this video helped you think about cruising differently, drop a comment below and tell me which of these 17 resonated most. I genuinely read those, and the conversations in the comments on videos like this one are always worth having. If you're planning a cruise and want to go deeper on any of these topics, port strategy, onboard credit optimization, cabin selection by itinerary, there are videos on this channel that go much further on each of those subjects. Check the description for links, and I'll see you in the next one.